Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2.
I thought you were talking to me for a minute.
Thanks for being here, sir.
What's that?
Thanks for being here.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, Dr. Waller.
Good evening.
See, he didn't have that last time, and it was, no one could hear each other. This system right here,
Alrighty,
Y'all there, so
Not yet, we're close.
good to go.
all right. Well, welcome everybody to the Union-Thurston regular Board of Education for June 8th, 2010. We'll start with roll call, Ms. Boyer.
Ms. Cato? Here. Mr. Huckrow?
Here.
Mr. Moore? Mr. Shook?
Here.
Dr. Walter?
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, discussion and approval of the minutes. And this has our regular meeting from May 11th and also, what's the date on our special meeting was May 28th, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions, or did anybody find any corrections on those? Page 19 is the, I'll take you through to there. Not, could I have a motion for the, to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
That was a motion by Carol Cada, seconded by Sean Shook to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Union-Thurston Board of Education meeting held on May 11th and the special meeting of the board held on May 28th as printed. Ms. Boyer?
Ms. Cato? Yes. Mr. Huckrow?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes. Ms. Boyer, financial statements.
All right, you have our bank reconciliation. On the reconciliation, there are 2 zeros by the banks, the Huntington CD and the Huntington Building Fund General Fund. I moved all the money into Park National Money Market due to interest rates dropping extremely low at Huntington. So that's why there's zeros in there. I'll talk more about it in a little bit. Then you have the treasurer's report, monthly report. And on page 4, the revenue is down considerably on here, and it was due to the reduction of funding from the state of $76,929.96, which will have 2 more of those reductions coming next month, or this current month. And then $76,424.18 was taken out in error due to a glitch in the OBE system. And they assured me that the money will be going back in our second payment that we received in June. And then on page 5 is the revenue that I just basically talked about. And page 6 is our expenses, and really the only changes we've had are spending due to the pandemic. Either we've spent more on some of the supplies and that type of thing, or we've started making some of the purchases sooner, which we've brought to you.
So April, it says on 2020 we're at 65% of our annual forecasted, where many of the other years are in that 90 to 92% range.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that, because then when you look at other spots, I don't know why it says that.
Okay.
Because when you look at the other spots, our spending is right about where it is other years, or we've actually spent more. If you look down in the other little box in B, the first one, it shows the actual spending July through May in 2019, and our actual spending July through May of this year. So I'm really not sure why it's showing that percent, unless it has to do with maybe when we did the spending.
Okay.
And then on, page 8 is the interest. Okay, so on the Huntington CD, and then down further, the Huntington Building Fund, General Fund, those two are what, like 80, close to $87. that was for 2 months worth of interest. I didn't get an April statement from them. I had to call Huntington and ask what the statement was. And they switched who was doing their statements, and they didn't send statements out. So they sent me papers showing what our interest was earned, and then the interest earned was below it was like 0.001 something, it was almost zero. So I called up Park National, and that's why I moved it. Now, I moved that on May 28th is when we moved almost 5.6 million over to Park National. And during those couple days, we received $112.06 from them. So that's where it's staying for now. I've talked to them about like doing CDs or something like that, and they said the interest rates for those were real low too. And that the little bit that we would save, if we would need the money, it wasn't worth it. You've got a chance the interest rates will go the other way, and then you're stuck with such a low interest rate, and if you need to get the money up, the penalties were really high. So that's where I thought we'd leave it for now. And then on page 9 is the monthly budget review. And here, where we would be at about 92% of the year, if you look down through there, we're right about where we should be. The revenue still, even with our cuts, probably will come pretty close to what we were hoping to get anyway. So, and that would be due to like the real estate that came in higher, and earned the excuse me?
Income tax?
Yes. Yes, the income tax coming in higher too.
Even despite all the
Well,
There's a
slow down
lag.
with everything, that was
Yeah,
still
well,
on.
due to the lag, that's why we would have still received our income tax, okay.
We'll see it later.
See you later, okay. That's kind of, I wondered what the lag time on that was.
Sometimes 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say. And then, next are our bills. And on page 1, 94638, Source 1 Supply, for $3,952. That was for masks and hand sanitizer. That came from the general fund. And down further, 94667, Bank of New York Mellon, for $52,918.75. That was to pay on the interest and principal on our bonds, and that came from the 002 bond retirement. And down a little further, 94671, Donnelly Complete Tree Care for $15,000. That was for high school tree removal, and that came from the building fund. Page 2, 94687, Praxis Institute for $2,295. That's for 5 PAX EAX trainings, and that's a good behavior game out of the elementary school, and that came from the 572 Title I grant. And then there's a whole bunch of small dollar amounts there to all different people. Those were the seniors' lunch and pay-to-play refunds that we needed to give back. Usually under like, it's either $10, $20. When the kids go through the lunch line, they give them the small amounts back, but that wasn't something we could do this year. Let's see here. So then on page 3, 94763, Carmen's Distribution System for $7,621. That was a carpet cleaner, and that came from the general fund. And then 94766, David Price for $23,080. $5,780 was for baseball field, and $17,300 was for a new athletic complex, and both came from the building fund. And then down further, 94780, Johnson Controls Fire Protection for $5,315.47. And that was to correct fire deficiency due to the cafeteria doors being propped open, and that came from the general fund. And the last page are memo checks, which is just payroll and Gordon Food. We pay Gordon Food online, and then I do a memo check, and then they give Jan a rebate. Next you have the appropriations and donations, and $150 to the middle school staff jeans day, to the middle school principal, and $250 from Jeff and Mary Dupler to the middle school principal. And that's what I've got.
Do we have any questions? If not, I have a motion.
Now, your first motion
Yeah,
is going to exclude the check to jewelry.
Yeah, but that was still one of the checks for just a refund on the
Yes, yes.
cafeteria charge, yeah.
So moved.
You can second it, I moved it. I moved it 7 minutes ago.
Second.
Thank you, sir.
Got a motion by Sean Brattle, seconded by Sean Schick to approve the monthly financial items listed above excluding check 94739 to Julie Walter as stated above. Ms. Boyer.
Mr. Hook-Rattle?
Yes.
Mr. Schiff?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
And a second motion to approve 94739 to Julie Walter in the amount of $43.75.
It's all you, bud.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sean Shook, second by Sean Brattle to approve check 94739 to Julie Walter in the amount of $43.75. Ms. Boyer.
Mr. Schiff?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
I'll abstain.
And Mr. Hook-Rattle?
Yes.
Item 5, new business financial appropriations, 2021 permanent appropriations. The treasurer, April Boyer, recommends approval of the 2021 permanent appropriations. B, substitute wage scale. The finance committee, including the superintendent and the treasurer, recommend approval of the salary schedules for living Union-Thurston employees not covered by the LUTPA or OPSI negotiated contracts. C, and this should be corrected, it's corrected in some of these, it should say add new fund at the beginning, and it'll say the treasurer, April Boyer, requests approval to open new fund 507, allowing the elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund. D, service providers. The superintendent recommends approval of the following. Service provider Johnson Controls, contract period July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Service provided comprehensive and monitoring of panels. Fee is $11,000. 2, service provider Perry & Associates CPAs, contract period July 1st through 2020 through June 30, 2022. What services, that's the accounting or?
That's the CPA to audit our,
Just the audit, okay.
yes.
So, annual fee for 2020 is $16,900. 2021 is $15,900. 2022, $15,900. Total of $48,700. 3, variety floors of Carroll. Services provided elementary office and common area. Modular V collection. I guess this is the type of flooring that we put in, 4-inch vinyl coat base. Fee is $5,683.89. 4, variety floors of Carroll for 2 elementary classrooms. For flooring, fee is $6,208.24. Item 5, VSP, contract period July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2022. This is for vision insurance, employee only at a cost of $5.10, family at a cost of $12.33. 6, VIP rehabilitation services, contract period 2020 through 2021. Provide students who are visually impaired and blind. Fee is estimated at $2,100. E, bread products. Through membership in the MEC, the LE2 school district has bid for bread products. Klosterman Baking Company is recommended by the food service supervisor Jan Frederick to provide bread products for the school cafeteria for the 2020-2021 school year. Item F, dairy products. Through membership in MEC, the district has bid for dairy products. United Dairy is recommended by food service supervisor Jan Frederick to provide dairy products for the 2020-2021 school year. And then G, kitchen supplier. Through membership in MEC, the LET school district has bid for kitchen food products. Gordon Food Supply is recommended by food service supervisor Jan Frederick to provide products for the school cafeteria for 2020-2021 school year. Do I have a motion for the new business financial?
We also have, there's a correction to the service provider. Number 2, Carey and Associates, it should go through June 30th, 2023.
2023.
Right.
Okay.
They've just given us a discount by going with a 3-year contract in 2021 and 2022. So it's 16.9 and then it's 15.9, 15.9.
That's what I would assume. We were a part of 5 different schools that were put out to bid by the state. And they gave the best pricing and were liked by the most as far as we all had to do a pooled number.
Mm-hmm.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Carol Cato, seconded by Sean Hookrattle to approve the new business financial items as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Water,
Yes.
Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle.
Yes.
Number 6, new business personnel. A, rescind resignation. Pam Pullermacher, food service employee, would like to rescind her approval for resignation due to personal reasons and changing situations. Her resignation was approved by the March 2020 board meeting. Dr. Johnson, the superintendent, recommends approval. B, resignations. Item number 1, Mr. Matt Gallatin, high school principal, has submitted his resignation effective July 31st, 2020, recommend approval. Number 2, Mr. Bill Haig, a school bus driver, has submitted his resignation at the conclusion of 2019-2020 school year, recommend approval. C, employee personnel. The superintendent recommends approval to hire the following personnel. 1, Holly Griffin, interim high school principal, 1-year contract, 2020-2021, 261 days at step 4. Starting date would be August 1st, 2020. Number 2, Marcus Alford, interim high school assistant principal, 1-year contract for a 214-day contract at step 0, starting date August 1st. Number 3, James Sweattick, high school math teacher, 1-year contract for 2020-2021 at step 0, starting date August 7th. 4, Tim Harris, elementary principal, 2-year contract for 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2020, should be 22.
Usually 22.
At step 8, starting date August 1st. D, classified salary notices. I'm not going to run through all of those. There is D, which is classified salary. E would be 2-year classified contracts. F would be 1-year classified contract. G, continuing classified contracts. Let's see, then we get to H, employ summer high school and middle school teachers. Debbie Howdy Shell for online summer school teachers. I would be employ personnel. Superintendent recommends approval to hire the following personnel. Patty Clausen, intervention specialist for extended school year services, 12 weeks, 3 hours per week for a total of 36 hours at a rate of $25 per hour. Do I have a motion for
So moved.
the new business personnel?
Second.
Motion by Sean Shook, second by Carol Cato to approve the new business personnel as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Water,
Yes.
Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle.
Yes.
Item 7, new business personnel. The following employees recommended for personnel, recommended for a contract as printed. Employee Julie Walter, position as aide. New contract for 2-year, 2021, 21-22, step 5. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second by Sean, or Motion by Sean Shook, second by Sean Hookrattle to approve the new business personnel item as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Waters,
Ms. Steen?
Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle.
Yes.
Item 8, new business other policy updates. File GCPA-2-R, reduction in personnel staff workforce. B, distance learning resolution with 5-year technology strategic plan and plan for distance learning. And, okay, that's just those two on that. Mike, do you want to add anything with either of those?
With respect to the RIF policy, I was checking, given our circumstances currently, we may have to consider it. We're not considering any of it yet, but we need to have the tools in place. And so the negotiated agreement with the teachers has a RIF identified in its contract, also with OPSI. But with administrators and other unrepresented employees, there isn't a RIF policy. It was taken out in 2008 by the board for some reason, but I'm recommending it be reinstated because it would be difficult to consider RIFing to sections of the school district and not consider the entire school district, so I'd like to have that back in. The distance learning is that you've approved this before. The thing you didn't approve attached to it was our plan, so they need to be approved together, so that's why it looks like you've done it already, but we've attached the plan.
Very robust plan, okay. Really good.
Now, we just modified a plan we already had, and added some words about instruction at home and a few other things, so.
Okay.
But it is a nice looking plan altogether, I agree.
Any other questions on that? I have a motion for the new business other.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sean Hookrattle, seconded by Carol Cato to approve the new business other as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Dr. Waters,
Yes.
Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle.
Yes.
Mr. Shook.
Yes.
Okay. Item 9, executive session. An executive session is requested, and this would, Mike, this is for
A2
A2.
and E, because I want to talk about
A2.
student.
Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
I've got Sean Shook, second by Carol Cato to go into executive session for the reasons stated above. At
7:24.
7:24.
How many are watching us?
All right. Ms. Boyer?
Ms. Cato.
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle.
Yes.
Mr. Shook.
Yes.
Dr. Waters.
Yes.
Well, before he signs off, you haven't signed off, have you?
No.
Okay. I always like to say that when we go into executive session in this kind of environment, that the board's gonna consider some things. We'll come out of executive session. The administration is not gonna make any recommendations for the board to vote on. So, we won't turn the system back on after executive session, so you could watch a resolution of adjournment. So that essentially nothing is gonna go on except those things that need to be kept confidential by the resolution that the board just passed.